Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys a video that I asked you guys if you guys wanted to see it, and some people said yes. So I'm going to go ahead and be doing a brow routine with you guys, but I'm going to just spice it up a little bit and actually show you guys how I clean up my brows and how I get them ready for any product. Alright, so first things first, before we get started, I'm going to just go ahead and let you guys know what you guys will need for this process, or what I use for this process, which makes it much easier for me. And that is going to be some some tweezers. You can use whatever kind of tweezers that you have. You will also need a spoolie, or like something that has a spoolie on the other end. So you could use an eyebrow pencil, you could use an eyebrow whatever, and this is going to help with combing your brows into place. Some people do add other things while they're doing this process, as far as like using some type of wax to hold their brows. They might use like a pencil or like a white kind of outline for it so that they know what hair to pull. I personally do not use any of those, so I'm not going to show you any of those, but if that might help you, definitely add that in. But you will also need a mirror, and preferably something that has a magnified side and a regular side. But we are going to go ahead and get started. And those are the items that you're going to need for the first half of this. Once I actually start filling my brows, I'll show you guys what products I'm going to use for that. But we're going to go ahead and we're just going to kind of brush our brows into shape or into place. Like, honestly, whatever the shape of your brow is what you're going to try to mimic, or at least, you know, try to just define. You don't want to be doing this and trying to, like, you know, create an arch and all that kind of stuff, sis, because you will really take off all your brows trying to do that. So for those type of purposes, I would definitely recommend going to a professional if you don't know how to do it. But I'm just going to show you guys how to clean them up. Like, I'm not going to be arching and all that crazy stuff. I'm just going to show you how to get them ready for product. I just want to show you guys like where my brow is right now, and if you guys can tell. So if I just brushed out my regular brows and let's say I was going to go ahead and start filling them in, this is what I would be filling in there. However, you can see these little scragglies down here, just like some excess hair that doesn't need to be there. Here it is on the other side, just excess hair that just is underneath that line that doesn't need to be there. So that's what we're gonna pluck. But like I said, you really want a magnifying mirror, because you don't want to actually pluck your brows. You just want to pluck those hairs that are just hanging around, you know, trying to get inside the club, but they can't get in. Those are the ones you're trying to remove. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with this side here. So like I said, we're only pulling the pieces that don't belong. So you can typically see, like, you know, where your hair is grouped together and pretty much your shape. And you can always easily identify, like, all these homies down here, they gotta go. So I'm gonna take my tweezers, and these are not no new tweezers, these are just some tweezers that I have that I use. So there's a slant to the tweezers. That's the side that you're gonna be using, that bottom part right there. That's where you're gonna be using to grab the hairs. What I like to do is just kind of push my brow, kind of like pulling it a little bit, a little taut. That when you get to the tail end of your brow, you just really want to be very cautious, because you never want to take off too much of your tail, because that's the part where most people end up just doing the most, and then they have to just shave it off and just fill that part in, which is okay. But just be mindful that, you know, your tail is still like a more sparse area of your brows anyway, and you don't want to take too much off because you can't put your brows back. You're always gonna like focus more on the bottom of your brows. So before I go ahead and finish up any further, I just kind of want to show you guys so far what the difference looks like. So this is the brow that is not done yet, and, you know, just full grown out, or, you know, semi grown out or whatever. And then here's the brow where we just kind of cleaned up our tail end and the bottom. Just doing the tail end and the bottom just does so much for your brow. Like, you can honestly leave it like this and, you know, move on to the next brow and then start filling them in. But I do like to just kind of clean up a little bit around the top, just because I do have like blonde hairs, and I feel like I can see them blonde hairs. Sometimes you guys can't see it, but I see it and it bothers me, so I pluck that part. But if you guys don't want to touch the top of your brows, that is totally fine. Just focus on the bottom half and just do a little cleaning up. But please don't get carried away on the top of your brows, because that is really what's going to change the entire look of them. Alright, and that is how I pretty much clean up my brows. I'm going to be using my Fenty Beauty Brow MVP in the shade medium brown. And I'm also going to be using my Fenty Beauty concealer, and this is in the shade 385, which is my skin tone. So for this look, ideally for any brow look that you're going to do, you want to make sure that your concealer is the same color as your skin. That way it kind of just looks like you just have naturally beautiful beat brows, sis. And so they're going to be nice and bleaky, but you want them to stay natural looking. So obviously if you're doing a more full face look or something that calls for a pop brow, then you would definitely go ahead and use a lighter color. But for this, we're going to use the same color shade. And then once we're done with this entire process, we're going to set our brows, and I'm going to be using the Maybelline Brow Drama, and this is in the shade deep brown. All right, so there's one of two ways that you can start off this process. Some people like to start off by concealing first, which kind of helps them outline their brow, and then filling in after. Or you can fill in your brow first and then use your concealer as like an eraser and cleanup method and clean up your brow. So I'm going to be going for a more natural looking brow because I'm not doing a full face right now. I'm just going to do my brows. So I want it to look like I don't have like a ton of makeup on, like I didn't just do only my brows. So, and for this purpose, I do find it easier for me to actually conceal my brow first and pretty much drawing my shape out with the concealer and then filling in after, because that kind of lets me know, like, usually, look, I'm going to show you guys, but you might not even need to fill in your brow once you clean it up with the concealer. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna just pop a little bit on the back of my hand. Oh, I didn't mention the brush. You will need a flat brush. I'm gonna take a little bit of this concealer here, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to just follow the shape of my brow. Getting really close to that bottom eyebrow as well. And then I'm gonna pull that concealer down and just kind of blend it out. And I'm also gonna use that to just mask some of that redness that I created. But that is just what it looks like without any product, without anything else, just concealer. The power of concealer is real, y'all. You can honestly go ahead and just clean up your brows, and that will be like the most natural, no makeup type of look that you can go for. Or you can be a little bit more, you know, extra with it and actually fill them in a little bit. I'm gonna use this fluffier brush right here to just kind of buff out any of that concealer that I have down here. I pretty much blended it out with the brush because it's just a second way to ensure that it is all blended out. But look at that brow compared to my not concealed and not filled in brow. So you can definitely see the difference. You can actually go ahead and set your brows and call this a day. Now this is, like I said, the most natural way to get a like literally no makeup type of look. But y'all didn't come here to see me do this very basic look. Y'all came to see how we do the brows. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take my brow pencil. I typically start from the middle and work my way out towards the tail, because I focus most of my product on the tail of my brow just because that's the part that is the most sparse. Yes, sparse. Okay, so as you guys can see, all I did was really just pretty much define the bottom brow. I just took very light strokes and just kind of filled in and just traced down to my tail. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the top, starting from that middle point as well, and I'm gonna just very lightly go ahead and create little strokes. Okay, so I really try my hardest not to put any product on the front of my brows, because honestly, I hate that like super just defined brow as soon as it starts. Nobody's brows start off like that. And I don't really think people try to go for that type of brow, but when you just get really heavy-handed and kind of carried away, essentially that's what you end up with. And so I personally, like I said, I don't like that. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna just take my brush and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna actually go up. Because typically the front of your brows, the way that that part grows is kind of somewhat up. And so I'm gonna go ahead and try to make it as natural as possible. So I'm gonna go up very lightly. And that's pretty much how I do my brows. I'm gonna go ahead and use this to just kind of brush it out. I will set them in place, going up in the front and then just trying to lay everything together, going back. And that is typically how I fill in my brows. So in some of my routines, you guys might see that I sometimes add my concealer to the top half of my brows. Just depending on how fleeky I want my brows to be will call for that step. And like I said, none of our brows are the same. So sometimes I find myself having to like clean up my brows to make them match each other. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fill in this other brow doing the method that you guys probably seen me do before, which is just like filling it in first and then cleaning up. So let's go ahead and see that difference. And even the tail, like the tails of my brows are different. Everything is different on my brows. So instead of removing more of this brow on this side, I'm gonna just go ahead, I'm gonna take some more concealer and I'm gonna just clean up the top tail. And the way I'm gonna do that is just taking some concealer, getting really close like we did for the bottom. And I'm gonna just pretty much cut it off where I want it to stop. And bring in a little bit more. Because I think this one is actually a little bit wider. This tail is wider than this tail for sure. All right, so then you're gonna just blend out that concealer. Again, like I said, you want this concealer to be your exact skin tone. And then you're just going to blend that out. And because it's red up here, I'm just gonna do this because I'm going outside. So I'm gonna just do both sides. And that just kind of cleans it up, blend that out. And this is pretty much the final look. This is exactly how I do my brows, either when I'm just doing just brows by themselves or if I'm doing an actual makeup look. I hope that helped you guys out. Thank you again so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you guys are not. And I will see you guys in my next video.